2025. A sealed envelope from Princess Diana finally opened. What she wrote inside shook the royal family and healed an old wound between two brothers. It was early morning at Kensington Palace. The corridors were silent, touched by the pale gold of the rising sun. Dust floated gently in the air as boxes of royal archives were carried from room to room. Among the quiet shuffling of papers, a young historian named Eleanor opened an old wooden chest marked 1997 Private Correspondence. Inside, beneath faded newspapers and a broken photo frame, she found a small white envelope, yellowed with age. Written across it in soft blue ink were the words, "To my dear William." Eleanor froze. Her breath caught in her throat. She had seen hundreds of letters, but never one addressed to Prince William in Diana's unmistakable handwriting. Her voice trembled as she whispered, "This can't be real." Hours later, the envelope was placed on a velvet tray and brought to the Royal Archivist's office. Only one person could authorize its opening, Prince William himself. That evening, William arrived quietly, without cameras or guards, just a few trusted staff. The room was dim, lit by a single lamp. The envelope lay before him like a ghost from the past. For a long time he simply stared at it. Then, slowly, he broke the seal. The scent of old paper filled the room. His hands trembled as he unfolded the pages. The handwriting was elegant and familiar, the same handwriting that had once signed his birthday cards, the same that had written bedtime notes when he was small. He began to read. "My dearest William, if you are reading this, then perhaps time has carried me somewhere you cannot yet follow. But know this, you are, and will forever be, the very best part of me." William's throat tightened. He could almost hear her voice, warm and calm, filled with love. "Life inside the palace walls can be beautiful, but it can also be lonely. Promise me, my darling boy, that you will always seek kindness before duty. The world may call you a prince, but I hope you'll never forget to be human first." Tears blurred his vision. He paused for a moment, pressing his lips together, then continued reading. "Love your brother. He will walk a different path, but your hearts were born together. Let no crown, no title, and no distance ever come between you." The words hit him like a wave. His relationship with Harry had been fractured, distant. Now Diana's voice seemed to reach through time, asking him to heal what fame and pressure had broken. He turned to the final paragraph. "And when the world feels heavy, look to the people, not the palace. The truest crown you will ever wear is compassion. That is what makes you my son." William lowered the letter slowly. The room was silent except for the soft ticking of the clock. He closed his eyes, holding the paper close to his chest. "I miss you, Mum," he whispered. For the first time in years, he allowed the tears to fall. Not as a prince, but as a son. When he finally looked up, he noticed something strange. Beneath the final line of the letter, there was a faint indentation, like the edge of another sheet once pressed beneath it. Carefully, he lifted the paper. There, hidden under the envelope's inner flap, was a smaller folded note. He pulled it out. The handwriting was faint, but still visible. "For when the world forgets who you are." And beneath it, a single date, 2025. William stared at it, stunned. His heartbeat quickened. What did it mean? Why 2025? He turned the paper over, but there was nothing more, just that one haunting sentence. He looked toward the window where the moonlight fell across the desk. The roses in the palace garden swayed in the cold night breeze. It felt as if she was there, watching, guiding, waiting for him to understand. He placed both letters gently back into the envelope, holding them to his heart. "I won't forget, Mum," he whispered. Outside, the wind moved softly through the palace grounds, carrying it with it a whisper that sounded almost like her voice, gentle, loving, eternal. And in that whisper, he heard the promise of something yet to come. William sat in silence long after Eleanor had left the archive room. The palace clock ticked faintly in the background, each sound echoing through the emptiness inside him. The letter lay open on the desk, his mother's words stretching across decades, breathing life back into memories he had long buried. He touched the paper gently, tracing each curve of her handwriting. He could almost hear her laughter, light, kind, and full of warmth, echoing in his mind like a song from another world. "For when the world forgets who you are," the words repeated in his head over and over again. He rose from the chair, walked to the window, and looked out over the palace gardens. It was raining, the kind of soft drizzle Diana used to call heaven's whisper. He remembered her saying once, "Rain has its own way of washing away pain, William. Never hide from it." For a moment he just stood there, letting the weight of the world rest quietly on his shoulders. Then he whispered, "You never really left, did you, Mum?" The next morning, William returned to the archive with Eleanor. Together they examined the envelope again. Beneath the flap, hidden under a thin layer of blue wax, was a faint seam. Eleanor carefully peeled it away. Inside, a smaller paper slipped out, folded tightly, almost turning to dust. William's heart raced. He slowly unfolded it. "My darling boys," it began. "If you are reading this, it means time has done what I could not. It has protected you from the storm. But storms always return, my loves, and when they do, remember that the light you carry inside is stronger than any crown upon your head." He paused. His hands were trembling. "There will come a time when truth will be twisted, when people will tell you what to believe. But truth, my sons, is not what the world says about you. It's what your heart knows about itself." Tears gathered in his eyes. He took a shaky breath and continued reading. "Be gentle with your brother. He will walk his own path, different from yours. But love him, even when the world pulls you apart. For one day you will need each other more than ever." William's voice broke. He sat down, head bowed, as if the weight of her love was too much to carry. Eleanor whispered softly, "She wrote this for both of you, didn't she?" He nodded. "Yes, but somehow it feels like she's talking to me right now." They turned the page over. On the back was a faint ink drawing, a small heart with two tiny crowns above it. Beneath, a single line read, "When you find this, go to the place where kindness began." William frowned. Kindness began? And then, in a flash, he remembered the small children's hospice Diana took him and Harry to when they were young, the one she called the House of Smiles. It was the first place she had shown them what it meant to give without expecting anything in return. Hours later, William stood before the old brick building. It had long been abandoned, the garden overgrown, the paint peeling from the walls. But when he stepped inside, the air still felt alive, filled with the echoes of laughter, the faint smell of roses, and the memory of his mother kneeling beside sick children, holding their hands as if they were their own. He walked slowly down the corridor, stopping at a faded mural painted decades ago. It showed Diana surrounded by children, her arms outstretched in joy. Beneath the mural, a small brass plaque glimmered faintly through the dust. It read, "To those who heal with love, kindness never dies." He knelt down, brushing the plaque clean with his sleeve. Behind it, something rattled. His fingers slipped under the edge and pulled out a hidden envelope, sealed in time. It was addressed in the same elegant handwriting. "For William, when the world grows too loud." His heart pounded as he opened it. "If you've come this far, my William, then you've already understood what I feared most, that the world can take everything from you, even your peace. But there is one thing it cannot take, your kindness. Guard it as you would your crown. Power will tempt you, fame will chase you, but neither will ever love you, only people will. Never let duty make you forget humanity, for it is not your title that makes you royal, but your heart." He felt his chest tighten. The words hit him like a wave of truth, so simple yet so powerful. He turned to the last line, written with shaking hands, the ink smudged with what looked like a tear. "And when you find this, tell your brother I love him still. Remind him that forgiveness is not weakness, it is strength only the brave possess." He couldn't breathe. "Harry." He sat there for a long time, the letters clutched to his chest. Then he whispered, "I'll make it right, Mum. I promise." That night William couldn't sleep. The letters lay spread before him under the lamp's warm glow. He reread them again and again, his mother's words echoing through his mind. Forgiveness is the bridge to peace. The next morning he picked up his phone and scrolled to a familiar name. For a moment his finger hovered over it. Then he pressed call. "Hello," came Harry's voice, distant but familiar. William hesitated. His throat tightened. "Harry, I found something from Mum." There was silence. Then Harry spoke softly. "What did she say?" William looked down at the letters. "She said, it's time to forgive." Harry didn't answer first. Then in a voice barely above a whisper, he said, "Then maybe it's time we do." A long pause followed, not awkward, not painful, just quiet. The kind of quiet that comes when two hearts begin to heal. Later that week, the world watched as the two brothers met privately for the first time in years. No cameras, no royal aides, no statements. Just two sons sitting together in their mother's favorite garden at Kensington Palace. No one knew what they said, but a photographer from far beyond the gates captured a single image. Two brothers walking side by side, their faces calm, their eyes soft with peace. Inside the palace, William placed both letters into a new glass frame. He set it near a photograph of Diana holding him as a child, her eyes full of the same tenderness that lived in every word she had written. That evening, as sunlight streamed through the window, it caught the letters and made them glow, as if Diana herself was still there, watching over them. William whispered, "You kept your promise, Mum, even after all these years." A gentle breeze brushed against the curtains, and somewhere in the distance, the faint sound of laughter seemed to fill the room, soft, warm, familiar. The world may have lost its princess long ago, but in that moment it felt like her heart had never left. Her love had simply found a new way to speak, through the letters, through her sons, through the quiet power of forgiveness. And as the day faded into night, one truth remained clear. Legends fade, but love endures forever.